everybody keeps trying to rewrite history. But if Katt can sit down on Shay Shay and say all the things that he said, if I can see you on this couch, the way that whole situation happened, I mean, it was on court document. People were sitting there talking about it, and they still trying to act like that never happened. And everybody else was hired while he directed his own little personal film. Get the fuck out of here!
Jaguar Wright didn't just spill some minor details. She poured out the entire kettle and set Hollywood on fire. Think about it. The industry's favorite scapegoat, Katt Williams, once again dragged through the mud. They've framed him as the villain, painted him as the king of chaos, and blamed him for nearly everything except global warming. But then Jaguar steps forward and dares to say what nobody else had the courage to put into words: stop blaming him. Yes, you heard that right. While the media serves recycled lies, and the elites enjoy champagne in their high-rise towers, Jaguar is exposing truths they never wanted to see daylight. She's calling it exactly what it is: a cover-up, a setup, a dirty game where Katt is pushed as the fall guy while the real devils hide in shadows, pulling strings. The question she's throwing back at the world is simple. If Katt isn't the villain, then who's the mastermind? Who's cashing the checks, burying evidence, and laughing while the world points fingers at the wrong man? Social media is already exploding. Twitter threads are multiplying. TikTok edits have gone viral, and Hollywood executives are in panic mode. Because when Jaguar opens her mouth, she doesn't whisper, she detonates. And this time, she's detonated right at the heart of the industry. Let's set the stage clearly, because this isn't your average Hollywood drama. What unfolded is more than gossip. It's a circus, a courtroom thriller, a Netflix-level documentary just waiting to be made. And right in the center stands Katt Williams, dragged across headlines like he's the sole culprit behind every scandal Hollywood has ever seen. But here's where the script takes a sudden turn. Jaguar Wright stepping up and declaring, "No, you've got it twisted." And if there's one thing about Jaguar, it's that when she talks, she doesn't hold back. She points fingers, she names names, and she ensures the industry feels the heat. So how exactly did we end up here? Why is Katt Williams once again trending for all the wrong reasons? To answer that, we need to rewind. Katt isn't new to controversy. His name has filled police blotters and TMZ updates for years. Arrests, fights, lawsuits, viral meltdowns. His rap sheet reads like a scripted reality series. Hollywood has labeled him unhinged, unstable, a dangerous problem. But according to Jaguar, that's the design. Every so-called scandal, she says, was manufactured, exaggerated, or even planted to ensure his reputation always stays tainted. At first, it sounds wild, but think about it. Does anything in Hollywood really happen by accident? Take the Reggie Carroll case, for example. The official story was that Katt was involved in a violent scheme that ended in tragedy. Media outlets cast him as the puppet master. Judges echoed those claims. The public absorbed the headlines like popcorn at a movie. But Jaguar isn't buying any of it. She insists the timeline doesn't fit. The evidence doesn't add up, and the entire narrative reeks of a setup. And if you've been paying attention, you'll know this wouldn't be the first time a celebrity was sacrificed to protect powerful figures. Michael Jackson, Prince, both accused of being difficult, both gone under suspicious circumstances, both having warned us long before about how the industry really works. Jaguar is now connecting those same dots and pointing them straight at the elite. It's executives, politicians, entertainers, claiming they're using Katt as a shield to hide their own corruption. Convenient, isn't it? Whenever disaster strikes, blame the loud, reckless comedian. No deeper questions asked, no real digging required. Meanwhile, the masterminds keep sipping champagne in their jets, untouched. Jaguar's message is simple but bold: stop blaming him. But this goes further than defending one man's reputation. For Jaguar, this is about exposing the entire machine. She says the entertainment industry runs on blood contracts, silenced agreements, and cover-ups tighter than anything the CA could orchestrate. And Katt broke the cardinal rule. He talked. He dared to call out the elites during interviews, roasted them in stand-up specials, and even hinted at secret events he described as red rooms. So when Reggie Carroll's death hit headlines, Jaguar believes the machine saw its chance. They pinned it on Katt, dragged his name through dirt, and turned him into the villain so nobody would ask what really went on behind the curtain. The internet, as always, is divided. On one side, the lock-him-up crowd who believe every tabloid line. On the other side, truth seekers dissecting leaked documents, courtroom sketches, and obscure memos like detectives on a conspiracy trail. Jaguar, however, isn't hiding behind theories or anonymous threads. She's saying it openly, with a confidence that keeps industry insiders awake at night. She claims there's evidence, sealed files, redacted reports, testimonies, that never made it into court. According to her, Katt was targeted from the start because he refused to play by the rules. He wouldn't compromise, he wouldn't sell out, and that refusal marked him for destruction. And really, it makes sense. Why would a man who had the world laughing, who stood at the top of his career, suddenly risk it all in some reckless plot? Why would he throw everything away unless someone wanted him destroyed? Jaguar says multiple insiders, assistants, security personnel, even ex-label executives, have quietly confirmed her story. According to them, Katt was never meant to be the fall guy, but once Reggie was gone, the machine needed someone to blame. And who better than the outspoken comedian with a chaotic public image? But here's the problem: whenever proof surfaces, it somehow disappears. Jaguar points out that when federal agents raided properties tied to the case, much of what they collected never reached court. Weapons were redacted, diaries vanished in processing, surveillance footage mysteriously corrupted. And yet, the headlines stayed the same: Katt Williams tied to murder plot. Copy-paste accusations, no deeper questions, just enough to bury him in public opinion. Jaguar's fight is not only for Katt, it's for truth itself. She urges people to stop being sheep, to stop letting the media decide villains and heroes. She's bold, she's risky, and that's exactly why the internet can't stop talking. Because whether you love Katt or hate him, one fact remains: this story doesn't add up. And Jaguar Wright has just ripped the mask off. The blast radius widened the moment Jaguar Wright said those 3 words: stop blaming him. The internet didn't just listen, it erupted. Twitter threads multiplied like wildfire. TikTok edits paired her voice with slow-motion footage of Katt walking into court. And YouTube channels uploaded hour-long breakdowns insisting Jaguar had just exposed Hollywood's darkest secret. Suddenly, this wasn't only about Katt Williams. It was about a system collapsing under its own lies. Now let's examine the so-called evidence. According to leaked whispers, the files used by prosecutors to smear Katt's name were cherry-picked, heavily edited, and in some cases allegedly fabricated. Anonymous insiders, claiming to have worked within the courthouse itself, suggested that multiple sealed documents never saw the light of day. These included phone records that cleared Katt's timeline, financial logs that contradicted the money trail theory, and surveillance footage placing other suspicious figures near Reggie Carroll just days before his death. Yet none of this was shown to the jury. Convenient, right? Instead, the prosecution served up a clean narrative, a story that made Katt look like a monster. Jaguar called it Hollywood storytelling at its peak, except this time the script was written in blood. There's more. A strange green PDF began circulating on underground forums, allegedly an FBI memo titled Confidential. Subject Williams. Most lines were blacked out, but one phrase stood clear: subject, not primary target. Fans clung to those words as gospel. If Katt wasn't the primary target, then who was? And why wasn't that detail revealed in court? Jaguar doubled down, claiming she'd been contacted by people inside the system who couldn't stomach the lie anymore. According to her, one staffer admitted directly, Katt wasn't supposed to be the one. But once the media ran with it, there was no turning back. Public opinion split wide open. On one side, hashtags like #justice for Reggie painted Katt as the villain. On the other, #FreeKatt trended worldwide. Supporters shared old clips of him warning about Hollywood's sacrifices, memes of Katt in shackles captioned, "They can cage him, but they can't cage the truth." Even celebrities began weighing in. One anonymous A-lister allegedly told a blog, "Jaguar's not lying. Everybody knows Katt's being set up, but nobody wants to say it on the record." Meanwhile, other stars vanished from social media entirely, deleting photos with Katt, erasing interviews, and pretending they'd never shared a stage with him. Silence in this case was louder than denial. Jaguar wasn't silent. She claimed to have seen a fragment of the mysterious note Katt received in court, the one that made his demeanor shift before his so-called outburst. According to her, the note listed names of elites tied to offshore accounts, secret parties, and private gatherings. One word was scribbled at the top: liabilities. If true, that note wasn't just a message. It was a death sentence in plain sight, and Katt in that moment wasn't breaking down, he was warning the world. Meanwhile, protests outside the courthouse turned chaotic. Crowds filled the streets, helicopters hovered overhead, and chants of "Stop blaming Katt" echoed through megaphones. Riot police clashed with protesters, but every confrontation was live-streamed, every shove replayed on millions of screens. One protester screamed into a camera, "They sacrificed Carroll to silence Katt, and now they want us quiet too." That clip hit 5 million views within a single day. Then came the darkest twist yet. An audio recording surfaced, allegedly captured inside Katt's holding cell after sentencing. In the grainy clip, a voice resembling Katt could be heard saying, "If I don't make it out, tell them it wasn't me, tell them they used me." Was it real? AI generated, nobody could confirm, but the internet didn't care. It spread like wildfire, fueling the belief that Katt wasn't merely imprisoned, he was silenced. Whispers spread of a sealed investigation quietly reopening. Some claimed a congressional committee was reviewing corruption inside the entertainment industry, though officials refused to comment. Still, when Jaguar Wright trended higher than the president on Twitter, it was clear Washington couldn't ignore the noise. Hollywood itself was in meltdown. Executives canceled appearances, producers deleted tweets, publicists worked overtime scrubbing their clients' histories. A few voices spoke out, but most stayed silent. And once again, silence sounded like guilt. Then came another blow. An anonymous whistleblower surfaced, claiming to have worked directly on Katt's case. Speaking with a voice filter on a viral podcast, they revealed Katt wasn't supposed to serve time. He was supposed to disappear. Disappear. That single word chilled everyone listening. If true, Katt's sentence wasn't justice. It was protection. Lock him away, not because he was guilty, but because freedom would have meant leaks too dangerous to contain. Jaguar immediately confirmed that theory, saying, "They didn't cage him for crimes. They caged him to keep the files hidden." And what files were those? The infamous Red Room archives, a phrase Katt had teased for years, dismissed by critics as the ranting of an unstable man. But now, those words echoed like prophecy. Jaguar insisted those files contained video evidence of secret gatherings, offshore accounts, and disturbing rituals that could burn Hollywood's empire to the ground. Rumors swirled that fragments of the archives had already leaked to independent journalists. One blogger claimed to have seen still frames, masked figures, recognizable faces, coded symbols. Mainstream outlets dismissed it as fake, but online communities didn't care. The story was already too viral, too massive to bury. Katt himself remained silent in his cell, but silence became louder than words. Fans painted murals of him with duct tape across his mouth, captions reading, "They gagged him. We won't be gagged." Protests spread from Atlanta to New York, even to London, evolving into a global outcry. And then the judge, the same stone-faced figure who once declared Katt guilty, suddenly vanished from public life. First it was medical leave, then personal reasons, then nothing at all. Rumors swirled that he'd been placed under federal protection. Others claimed he fled overseas. Jaguar offered her own chilling theory. The same people who used him to condemn Katt are now afraid he'll talk. By this point, even skeptics struggled to ignore the patterns. The narrative was no longer just about Katt Williams' guilt or innocence. It was about whether the entire system was rigged. Why were files redacted? Why did evidence vanish? Why did insiders leak information, only to go silent days later? And most importantly, if Katt wasn't the villain, then who was? Jaguar pushed harder, going live on a stream that reached 1 million viewers in under 2 hours. She named producers, label heads, and politicians by their initials, daring them to sue her. Her exact words, "If I'm lying, take me to court, but you won't, because discovery would ruin you." That line went viral instantly. Memes of Hollywood executives hiding under tables spread across Instagram. Hashtags like #StopBlamingKatt and #Jaguar was right trended worldwide, and in the center of it all sat Katt Williams, silent, shackled, but paradoxically more powerful than ever. Because every attempt to bury him only made him bigger. Every smear, every redacted file, every mocking headline fueled the belief that he was a truth teller locked inside a cage. The movement wasn't just about defending Katt anymore. It was about turning him into a symbol. By the final week, the movement surrounding Katt Williams had grown sharper, louder, and nearly unstoppable. What began as scattered online debates turned into marches across major cities. Candlelight vigils were held not only for Katt, but also in memory of Reggie Carroll, the man whose death had ignited the controversy. Spray painted across walls in Los Angeles appeared the chilling message, "The machine can't kill truth." Mainstream anchors tried to laugh it off, brushing it aside as just another internet obsession. But behind the cameras, even networks were trembling. Whispers of advertisers pulling out, shareholders panicking, and executives demanding some kind of damage control spread like wildfire. The problem: how do you contain a blaze that has already jumped from Hollywood gossip to Washington whispers to a global outcry? You don't. And that's exactly why Jaguar Wright's words hit harder than ever. Her message was clear. This isn't the end of Katt Williams' story. It's the beginning of theirs. Because if Katt was only the scapegoat, then the real story isn't about him at all. It's about the empire behind him. The empire now standing trial in the court of public opinion. After the leaks, the whispers, the protests, and Jaguar's relentless truth bombs, one thing became certain: this story is far from finished. Hollywood wants the public to believe Katt is the villain. The media wants audiences to swallow headlines without question. But Jaguar's voice cuts through all of that, sharp as a blade. Stop blaming him. Now the question is no longer about Jaguar or Katt alone. It's about us. What do we believe? Is Katt Williams truly guilty, or was he simply the latest sacrifice offered by a system too powerful to challenge? Did he orchestrate chaos, or was chaos carefully orchestrated around him? Because let's be honest, if even a fraction of what Jaguar claims is true, then this isn't about one comedian's reputation. It's about an empire built on lies, control, and cover-ups. It's about a system so large and so deeply connected that it can erase evidence, silence insiders, and manufacture villains at will. And if they can silence someone as loud, unfiltered, and fearless as Katt, then what chance does anyone else have? That's why Jaguar's voice carries weight beyond gossip. She isn't just fighting for Katt, she's fighting for truth itself. She's pushing the world to ask questions the industry desperately hopes will never be asked. Why were crucial files redacted? Why did surveillance footage suddenly corrupt? Why did insiders leak details only to vanish days later? The internet isn't waiting for mainstream answers anymore. Movements have formed. Hashtags have turned into banners. Fans aren't just defending Katt. They're elevating him into a symbol of resistance. Memes of him gagged with tape have transformed into murals with captions. They silenced him, but not us. Jaguar intensified the fire by naming names live, daring those in power to sue her. If I'm lying, take me to court. You won't, because discovery would ruin you. That one line echoed everywhere. Instagram filled with satirical posts of executives hiding under tables. TikTok flooded with edits splicing Jaguar's words with clips of Katt warning audiences years ago. And hashtags like #Jaguar was right refused to fade. Every attempt to bury him only amplified his influence. Each smear headline, each mysterious disappearance of evidence, every mocking segment on late night television only convinced more people that something larger was being hidden. By now, Katt Williams was no longer just a comedian in a courtroom drama. He had become a symbol. An unwilling martyr trapped inside a machine that thrived on silence. His supporters weren't only demanding freedom for him, they were demanding accountability for the system. As marches erupted, as vigils grew, and as the internet's obsession intensified, the weight shifted. Hollywood's image was cracked, Washington's silence looked suspicious, and Jaguar's voice, though polarizing, became impossible to ignore. The bigger picture loomed large. This wasn't about one trial or one man's fate. It was about an empire built on secrecy, control, and sacrifices hidden from the public eye. If Jaguar was even half right, then Katt Williams' downfall wasn't just personal. It was proof of a system weaponizing narratives to protect itself. So here we are. After all the chaos, leaks, whispers, and revelations, the truth feels heavier than ever. Hollywood and the media want you to believe one version of events, but Jaguar insists on another. Her words slice through the noise with a chilling finality. Stop blaming him. And now the choice rests with us. Do you stand with Jaguar and Katt, or do you accept the polished narrative fed by the machine? Do you believe Katt orchestrated his own destruction, or that he was destroyed because he refused to bend? Because if Jaguar Wright is even partly correct, then this isn't about entertainment anymore. It's about power. It's about who gets to tell the story and who gets erased by it. And most importantly, it's about whether truth can survive in a world built to bury it. That's why your voice matters. Drop your thoughts, ask questions, challenge headlines, share what others want to hide, because the moment we stop asking is the moment the machine wins. This isn't just Katt Williams' story, it's ours. And it's far from over.